Octodad made its premiere years ago when several students from DePaul showed off their strange octopus simulator at the Independent Games Festival. They gained even more attention when the game was released on their website for free, and instantly people were uploading videos of their silly gameplay on YouTube. More, the internet shouted, more Octodad! And those same people that first made a student project started Young Horses, where they would begin work on the greatest game where you play as an octopus pretending to be a dad ever made. Octodad 2 was the working title, and after a successful Kickstarter where they raised $24,000, the stage was set. And finally, after over 2.5 years, we finally get to play Octodad Dadliest Catch. Octodad Dadliest Catch is not just a quick cash-in from a previous free game success. Most of what is done in the game feels completely fresh and original. For those of you who have yet to see this game, you play as an octopus who is pretending to be a human being after meeting the love of his life that happens to be human. They get married and have children, somehow, and Octodad is continuing to evade any doubts as to what he actually is. He does this by simply being a good father and an exceptional husband. Mowing the lawn or feeding the family are but a few of his daily tasks he does in order to seem as human as possible. He even goes out in public to do grocery shopping. As you play through the game, you'll learn what actions can make you stand out and seem suspicious. But to make matters even worse, a crazed chef is constantly chasing Octodad in order to expose him for what he really is, and to turn him into a delicious meal. In Dadliest Catch, it is established that Octodad does a pretty good job passing himself off as human, but when his wife Scarlet surprises the family with a free trip to the aquarium, Octodad is anything but excited. The story at this point isn't the biggest draw of Octodad. It's the controls. The hilarious flopping around that Octodad does, comparable to one of John Cleese's famous silly walks. If John Cleese were an octopus. In Octodad, the player has control of each arm and leg, and while at first this feels incredibly unnatural and weird, once you get the walk down, you'll be flying around the room. In no time, you will be competing with the speedrun time set by the devs themselves. The first 3 areas in the game do a great job establishing the characters and the controls. It's the aquarium where the game shows its hand. Or tentacle. It's in the aquarium that we learn about how Octodad became Octodad and met his lovely wife, where we get to see him be a great dad to his son and daughter as they explore different exhibits. And it's here where we get to play arcade games and win prizes. Yay. I don't want to give too much away because this area in the game is really magical. That may seem strange to a lot of people, to think of Octodad Dadliest Catch as more than just a silly octopus game where your arms stretch all over the place and break all the stuff. But this game has more heart than I personally expected. The love that your wife has for you feels so genuine, and you feel the grief when Octodad has trouble communicating his fears and feelings. And when your children are in the most vulnerable states and are putting all of their trust into their dad, it could bring a tear to your eye. This is all paired with the exceptional writing and voice acting. Beyond heartwarming, this game is hilarious, not only in controls, but situational humor and dialogue. And Octodad's blubbing at everything still cracks me up.
Honey, are you alright?
I cannot even begin to understand how this game was pulled off. The physics presented in it are so well done, it's hard to believe this is the first game this team has ever made. Octodad interacts with each object differently, and just as impressive, most sound effects in the game were done via Foley, adding even more individuality to the entire game. The visuals are, at first, seemingly unimpressive, but the more you look at it, the more it grows on you, and given the amount of physics going on in the game, it's understandable why the team would go with a more simplified look. The game on average will only take you about 3.5 hours to beat, but there is still a lot to be done. Each level in the game has 3 ties hidden about that can usually only be found after exploring and trying to solve some specific puzzles, like this one. In addition to finding ties, there are also plenty of strange Steam achievements that can be more difficult to solve. Beyond this, you can go back and try to clear out the stages as quickly as possible. This is such an interesting game to speedrun, given how difficult it is to master the controls of each appendage. There is a stage builder where people can make and share their own Octodad levels through Steam workshops. And finally, there is a local co-op mode where up to 4 different people can attempt to control a different arm or leg all at once, creating hilarious circumstances. As stated earlier, Octodad Dadliest Catch isn't just a cash-in for an idea that took off on YouTube. It's a genuinely funny and heartfelt game, with an interesting protagonist that controls in a way we have yet to see in a video game. And the journey of Octodad is sure to be one that will stick with you. Guys, be sure to pick up Octodad Dadliest Catch. I highly recommend it. I absolutely love this game and all the time I got to spend with it. It's only $14.99 right now through Steam on PC, Mac, and Linux, and the game will be coming out on the PlayStation 4 later in March. If you guys haven't got enough Octodad information, you guys can check out the interview I did with Phil Tipotowski, the president and CEO of Young Horses, the people who made this fantastic game. It's a pretty long interview, but we get really into the ideas and the feelings they had while making this game, so it's pretty interesting to figure out more of how they feel. I worked real hard on it, and I worked hard on this video too, so be sure to give it a like, a comment, and share it around the internet, because that's what you should do. And thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.